Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time and attending this parallel session, number 12, on collaborative success, building symbiotic relationship in industry. My name is Ismail Al-Hilali. I am the director of the Circular Economy and the Green Industry Division at United Nations Industrial Development Organization based in Vienna, Austria. I'm very happy to moderate this session. And this session is about the crucial role of cooperation among manufacturing industries in advancing the circular economy, which is the topic of the World Circular Economy Forum here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. On the material and process management side, this concept goes beyond recycling and is aiming to create a system where waste is minimized in the production step, and that also resources are continuously reused. It's more about waste management, it's more about recycling, it is about optimizing the use of resources collectively and not only individually. Key strategies for this include industrial synergies that can include utility synergies, value chain synergies, and also industrial symbiosis, shared services among tenants of the industrial park, as well as joint activities like training and research and development. This symbiosis and partnership brings significant benefits both for the companies, the local environment, but also the communities and the planet. Before starting, and we'll go first with the first interactive activity, we'll have a poll. Please go through these instructions. We need to get your feedback, and I hope that you will have access to this app. You need to follow the steps, and if you are ready, there is one question. The first question we would like to share with you. The first question for you is, how can manufacturing businesses and industrial companies best cooperate for a circular economy? And then you have the options. The first one, is it by sharing excess side streams for value-added products? Second option, by joint services on energy materials management and transport. Third option, by joint innovation, research and development on resource optimization and eco-design. And the last option is by cooperation on training and skills development. While you are selecting your options, I would like to give more information about the role of industrial symbiosis and synergies in circular economy. The circular economy seeks to redefine growth by focusing on positive society-wide benefits. Industrial synergies refer to collaboration and collaborative efforts between different industries to optimize resource use. And before going ahead, I think you can see the result here. And I think most of you have chosen the R&D on resource optimization and eco-design. We have a lot of designers in the audience. This is good. But also there is on joint services on energy materials. Energy is very important, and also management. Third one is by, changing. So equal is by sharing excess side streams of value-added products. And the last one, the green one, is by cooperation on training and skills development. It depends, of course, on the baseline situation, your industrial park, but all the questions are actually acceptable. So thank you for your inputs, and then we'll move on to continue on the role of industrial synergies. So basically, shared services and joint activities are integral to fostering circular economy cooperation in industries. And these include shared services. Industries can share services such as logistics, waste management, energy supply, utilities, water supply, etc., to enhance efficiency and reduce costs. This makes sense for the industries. For instance, shared logistics services can optimize transportation routes, reducing fuel consumption, but also emissions. If you think about Scope 3 emissions, most of them are coming from logistics. Moreover, joint training and R&D, research and development, collaborative training programs, and research and development R&D initiatives help industries to innovate and adopt circular practices. By sharing practical experience among the industries in the industrial park, we can learn more from practical solutions coming from the people that are facing the challenges. Of course, we need to bring in academia and science to support that, but the practical solutions are coming from the users and also the industrialists themselves. So industrial symbiosis takes industrial synergies a step further by creating a network where the waste or byproducts for one industry become the raw material for another. This is just the easiest example to explain symbiosis, but actually it's about sharing and optimizing, moving from individual solutions to collective solutions, either in terms of inputs, water, raw materials, energy, or outputs, the final products or the byproducts, waste, water, solid waste, and air emissions. Key element here is cooperation. We can have theoretical and technical solutions, but what matters is that the tenants be convinced about the value of this partnership. And this is where we see the merit of cooperation. And there are different folds of that. First, economic gains. Companies can save on raw material costs, services, and waste disposal fees. Environmental impact. Coming together, we can better reduce waste, emissions to air and water, and lower greenhouse gas emissions, and then contribute to healthier environments and the planet. Innovation and efficiency. Collaboration efforts often lead to innovation solutions and more efficient processes. But this doesn't go without challenges. And this is where my panelists will come, and they will provide their experiences, the challenges, and what were the solutions they put in place to overcome these challenges. So I'm pleased to call on my panelists. I will start with Ms. Mette Wendel, Senior Project Manager from Kalundborg Symbiosis Industrial Park Perspective from Denmark. Second panelist, Ms. Melissa Rocco, Coordinator of the Industrial Symbiosis Program of the Association of Companies of the Santa Cruz District, AIDA in Brazil. Thank you very much. Third panelist, Ms. Angelica Peña, President of the National Association of Industrialists, ANDI of Colombia. Last but not least, Ms. Silvia Solano, the Regional Lead, Latin America Green and Resilient Buildings Program, International Finance Corporation. And before we start, we would like to start with a short video on the Kalundborg. If you can please show the video.
In a windy corner of West Zealand, in Denmark, lies the city of Kalundborg. It's here an industrial symbiosis has shared the surplus of excess resources for more than 50 years. Our planet needs new solutions. We must transform our production to thrive in the 21st century. That's why Kalundborg aims to be the world's leading industrial symbiosis. By symbiosis, we understand a partnership where our partners provide, share, and reuse resources. As public and private companies are physically connected, one company's surplus of resources adds value to another. Kalundborg's global companies collaborate with local businesses and authorities across sectors to solve some of the biggest challenges we are facing today. Large industrial companies share excess energy, water, and materials, so less goes to waste. Today, more than 20 different streams of resources flow between the companies. Every year, our efforts reduce thousands of tons of CO2 emissions, and we are aiming for full resource utilization and zero waste within the next decades. The Symbiosis model also creates the trust and power of innovation within the community, for the employees involved, for students, and for researchers. We are proud that our model already inspires people from other countries, but we would like to spread it further. Nothing is more evolving than new partners eager to experiment, innovate, and share with us. In Kalundborg Symbiosis, sustainability, growth, and profit go hand in hand. That is what we believe should be the new normal. But most of all, we hope our local efforts can be an example of best practice and multiplied in similar symbioses around the globe, demonstrating local solutions to our global challenges.
This is a very short video about a success story of an eco-industrial park. And as an eco-industrial park practitioners, we all start, this is one of the first eco-industrial park experiences in Kalundborg in Denmark. And we are pleased today to have Miss Mette Wendel with us. And I would like to give her, to introduce herself and also how Kalundborg continue to be inspiring for the whole world. Please.
Thank you. My name is Mette Wendel. I'm a Symbiosis facilitator in Kalundborg Symbiosis, as Ismail mentioned, and I will not say that much on Kalundborg Symbiosis. I could speak for hours about our partnership and how dedicated our partners in Kalundborg are about industrial symbiosis. But now you've seen the video, and I'll just keep the introduction a little bit short, but start by mentioning that this video you saw, it was launched 3 years ago, and today we are now 17 companies in the partnership, and that we have, in the video they said that we have more than 20 streams. Today we have 34 streams between the companies. And Kalundborg Symbiosis is a non-profit organization, an association between 17 different companies in Kalundborg, representing worldwide production companies, smaller companies being test and demo plants, and also some service providers. And last but not least, we have the municipality as a public partner in the partnership as well. And we know, because we have proved through the 53 years of cooperation, that circularity can be a driver of innovation, and it can strengthen the local community, and it can benefit the climate and also the financial bottom line. So it's a win-win-win situation. And we also seen that you can, so to say, divide the outputs of an industrial symbiosis cooperation in hard values like resource savings, financial savings, and improved environmental KPIs, and also soft values like strengthen the local community, the way of doing more responsible production for the companies, and it also opens up new perspectives on how industries and companies can collaborate. So, as a last word here in my introduction, I would say that we are here today in Brazil, or I'm here today and my colleagues are in Rio de Janeiro, because we have been partners in a project, or we are partners in a project with EDIN, the EDIN Association, and Melissa in an industrial symbiosis partnership in Santa cruise in Rio de Janeiro. So what a pleasure to be here, Melissa.
Thank you very much, Meti, for these kind words and this good introduction. And I give now the floor to Ms. Melissa Rocco, the representative of the host country, Brazil.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you. Let's present myself. I'm a chemical engineer, and I have also master business in administration with focus in environment and also in sustainability. Now I finished my master degree environment engineering, but the focus of my master's degree is industrial symbiosis. That I've worked with this since the start of this partnership 3 years ago. Nowadays I work for a company that is associated to AEDIN. AEDIN is the association of the companies of industrial districts of Santa Cruz. And I have experience, over 20 years of experience working with environment, with sustainability, also with safety, with health, in a lot of different companies, in a lot of different sectors of industries. I've already worked in chemical companies, automobilistic companies, metallurgical companies, steel companies. So I have a great experience in this. So that's the way that I try to contribute to building a program of industrial symbiosis that today we are developing together with Kalundborg and also with the government of Rio de Janeiro, that I will present in the next part of this presentation here. So again, I would say that's a pleasure to be here to share with you that experience that we are having. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Yes, thank you very much. I now pass on the floor to Angelica, please.
Thank you, Ismael. It's a great pleasure to be here with you in Sao Paulo. This is my very first time in Brazil. I have enjoyed it very, very much. and yeah, it's amazing to be here with these brilliant and powerful women. And with you, Ismael, of course.
Yes, yes.
I think we should be very proud of having this conversation. As the former Finnish president said yesterday, gender equality is also part of this conversation, right? So I'm Angelica Peña. I am the director of the Free Trade Zones Chambers at ANDI, which is the National Business Association in Colombia. We represent pretty much 60–70% of the country's GDP, and we take sustainability and circular economy very serious. One of my dear colleagues is here. She's the director of the program for circular economy at ANDI. We have a specific program devoted to circular economy in very different industries. And myself, I am devoted to the free trade zones. And I would like to mention just a couple of ideas. And the first one is that the free trade zones are the perfect ecosystems to develop efficient circular economy programs. So this is our starting point. And there is also an idea, which is not mine, it's from one of our colleagues here in this event. And it's just, of course, we're all very committed to circular economy. Yesterday, the lady that was presenting, Juliana, she mentioned her very nice dress. It was bought like 20 years ago, and it was made of certain fabrics and blah, blah, blah. And then that was very nice when we all do it, and we carry our bottles and this and that. And of course, everything contributes. But, and again, this is not my idea, this is somebody else's. The big impact is made by the companies, by the industry, and then by the big players. And that's why all these ecosystems we're going to be talking about in this panel came into force. And that's a very powerful idea that I would like to mention. And then in Colombia, these free trade zones, we have 115 free trade zones. zones in 20 of the 32 regions of the country. And then they represent, and this is very interesting, 90% of the companies located in these free trade zones are small and medium enterprises, which tells you about, like, of course, all these, again, small and medium-sized companies all together in these ecosystems, they can do a lot. And for them, financially, makes sense being in a free trade zone and then working together in all these collaboration and these cooperation schemes. That's powerful. Since they are in these regions, they also bring a lot of social impact. And that's something that we should also bear in mind. We have been discussing with my colleagues here. There's a very, very nice example, Zona Franca del Cauca, which is located in one of the areas of the country that have been under a lot of pressure given to drug traffic, I have to say it, social issues, economical issues, and then, as the president of Andy, Bruce McMaster, has said in several occasions, you have like these little oases, right? These free trade zones that bring opportunities for these regions. And then they have also been very committed. We launched a survey last year that showed that about 70% of these free trade zones have a sustainability policy. About 50% have been working on energy cooperation schemes, and also in the management of waste, and then you name it. So this will be my initial remarks.
Thank you very much, Angelica. And last but not least, Sylvia.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and sharing also this panel with this great group of people. And thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Silvia Solano, and I'm the regional lead for the Green Building and Resilient Program at IFC. IFC is the International Finance Corporation, a private arm of the World Bank Group. I lead this regional program in Latin America that it's called, the long name is like a Green Building Transformation Program, which is a program that we have at IFC as part of the Climate Business Department. And where we develop, and this Climate Business Department, we develop tools and we develop platforms to support our own investments to become more green, more resilient. And also we provide the market with tools as same to create market opportunities. And through this program, what we do is we basically look into the opportunity of expanding the green buildings and green investments on the built environment, and to make it also more resilient. So we work both in mitigation and more recently in adaptation, looking also for tools to enhance also the resilience of the built environment. I just wanted to also, like, first remarks that I will going to be focusing on this aspect because I think and we think that also the green buildings are key in these industrial zones and industrial symbiosis to collaborate and are the low-hanging fruit to create more efficient environments as well. So I think that I will stop there.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, for this introduction. Now we'll start this session of questions and answers from our panelists, and I will start with Melissa from Brazil. And the first question is about what kind of circular economy advancing cooperation is applied by the businesses and industries in the Santa Cruz district in Brazil.
Okay, the circular economy cooperation that we are implementing in Santa Cruz is the industrial symbiosis program that we are implementing there. So this program is inspiration for Kalundborg. Kalundborg helped us in everything that we learned about this and how to implement this. We started that program. That program in 3 years ago, as I said, and it's important to highlight that that is a cooperation, a partnership with Kalundborg, AEDIN. AEDIN is the Association of Companies of Santa Cruz. It's an industrial district in Rio de Janeiro. and also the government of State of Rio de Janeiro. I think it's very important to highlight this is very important as we have this partnership to develop all that we need to do in terms of industrial symbiosis. To talk a little bit about more about this program is industrial symbiosis. I wanted to say that we have implemented some methodologies. That methodologies come from Kalundborg, and the first thing that we need to do is to understand how to map this company, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all, because you are not working with one company, two companies. It's a pool of companies, different sectors, different profile of industries. So how can I congregate of all these industries and to get the information of these industries and establish the flows that's necessary? So first of all, the model that you have used is to try to identify, to visit each of these companies, to understand the processes of this company, and to identify the opportunities to have the optimization of the resources inside of this company. And after that, you can discover there is some after we can reuse this resource inside of the industry. So okay, but we have some surplus of products, and that way you can have some network with your other companies. So it's the first step that we did is to map these resources in terms of industries and what remains of these resources that you cannot use anymore inside of the company to use in another companies of the district. So to do this, to go forward with this, we used the methodology of Kalundborg. For example, Kalundborg helped us with a project that's a pathways for resource efficiency. That's a project that was funded by Energy Agency of Danish Energy Agency that help us to develop the organizational and technical. How to do this in terms of organization, how to do this in terms of technical, how can we start to do this screening. First of all, you understand that that is necessary to be a facilitator, because it's not easy, as I said before. We have a lot of different companies in the district, and how you can get this company, how you can go to the decision makers of these industries. So that's the point that we achieved that. It's important to have a facilitator. And who is the facilitator? IADIN, the association, take the place of these facilitators. They go to the companies, to ask to the companies, to build the trust with the companies, to be for these companies open their door, and you can go there and to identify the resources and collect some data and to work with the data, to establish some mappings with quantitative data, and with this we can define the main flows in these industries and the possibilities to reuse this resource inside of the companies, and also to identify another networks that's possible, other synergies that we can use to connect these industries in Santa Cruz district. So that's the way that you collaborate in terms of circular industrial.
Thank you very much, Melissa. It's good to know that you are cooperating with Kalundborg, and the purpose is not to replicate, but to learn and adapt to the context of Brazil.
For sure.
And of course, it's learning for both ways. And actually, this may give me the opportunity to ask Mitty, how can companies identify partnerships and partners for cooperation in circular economy, industrial symbiosis, based on your experience in Kalundborg?
Yeah.
In a short version,
Yeah, I'll
please.
see
Thank
if
you.
I can do it shortly. And I totally forgot to say that I'm also very humble and pleased about being here today. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, how can you start the cooperation? I think Melissa touched upon a lot of the factors that are needed, but I would like to add that starting a dialogue on the technical screenings and then also facilitate the meetings so that neighbors, if you start from nothing, having no partnership in a new place, introducing the companies there to each other or learn your neighbors to know so that you can identify what are the potentials, what are the challenges of each company so that you can find and identify the mutual potential for cooperation on projects or synergies or whatever is needed in your local area. And when you have done that, you have created the space for developing the trust, the confidentiality that Melissa mentioned, that is very important in a partnership like that, because you're going from establishing a business model for one company to shared business models. But you can also deliver on a much higher level on impact for the community. And let me give you an example from Kalundborg. We had no higher educational programs in Kalundborg 10 years ago. We are located 100 kilometers from the capital, Copenhagen in Denmark. Every young person who wanted to have a higher education had to go to the capital. But the companies needed skilled workforce for innovation, for new Symbiosis project, for their growth and extension of their businesses. So they joined forces on addressing and influence key stakeholders collaboratively and also individually. And I don't think that we would have succeeded in securing skilled workforce and educational opportunities for our local citizens as well if we had not joined the forces here. And another value of joining forces, and so to say a side effect, is that it commits the local partners. They were and they are very eager to ensuring the success of these educational programs, which led to a strong cooperation between industry and academia, which, for instance, secures every scientific student in Kalundborg a scientific-related student job while they do their studies, which is also very important. So, a very high impact on the local community from an industrial symbiosis partnership as a side effect.
Thank you very much, Meti, for sharing your insights about the experience of Kalundborg. Now we are moving to Colombia. Angelica, policy is very important for the development of circular economy and industrial symbiosis. In your opinion, as representative of the private sector, actually, how do you see the importance of these policy elements to encourage industries to implement circular economy solutions?
Well, this is a very interesting question, and I'm going to start like dividing what you just said,
Okay.
the question itself,
Okay.
because you said policy. And the first idea that comes to my mind is that that's very different from over-regulating.
Okay.
So it's different to have a policy, which is a long-term vision, or where we as a country or as a region, actually, or globally even, where we want to go at what are going to be the tools, what do the companies need to achieve those goals. And again, that's different from over-regulating. So that's the first idea. And then you said, how do you encourage, how do you support which brings me to say again, to say in a different manner, that also differs from imposing, from creating the obligation of being sustainable or the obligation of going into circular economy. The companies, their main purpose, of course, is being profitable, is creating value, is creating job places, is like expand all these positive elements of the economy, right? In a sustainable way, of course. But that's their goal. That's what the companies are aimed to do. So I will say, one, let the companies be. Let the industrial sector be.
Okay.
When you have this sector into a free trade zone, right, or an industrial park, this cooperation is going to be somehow natural. So the second element of this policy should be the right incentives. You need to give them incentives. How are you going to make them more profitable? How are they going to be more, how are they going to take more financial sense from it? And then you get the results. And then third, again, don't force them. Just don't force them. Create incentives. The incentives are going to do what they have to do.
Thank you very much, Angelica, for your inputs in terms of regulations and policies, vision, and how we can encourage the private sector. Now I am moving to Sylvia, International Finance Corporation, IFC. You are working on industrial symbiosis, and how does the IFC stimulate the green transition in the industrial sector to promote symbiotic relationships within the sector?
Thank you very much. So yes, the International Finance Corporation, as I said before, it's the biggest development bank that is working on the private sector. It's the private arm of the World Bank Group, working in promoting green growth and creation of jobs and innovation. We have a variety of services. We invest, we create markets, and we do provide advisory services. Everything is like, of course, tailor-made for the investments and for the clients and for the needs of the programs, of the projects. We provide also scalable solutions, and so we create also platforms, as I mentioned before, platforms and guidelines to promote these advanced programs, and also for companies to include circularity and sustainability in their programs and in their projects. Eco-industrial parks or symbiotic industrial symbiosis initiatives are part of the IFC's more comprehensive and broader work that we are doing on the different spaces. But I just wanted to also mention about a little bit about of the work that we do through the investment projects, and we create different financials, or we have different financial mechanisms. We invest in all the different sectors, including infrastructure, manufacturing, agribusiness, real estate, and also through financial institutions. And we have all different kinds of financial products and financial mechanisms to promote this green growth. We can do it through, for example, debt or loans, but basically something that it's important is that we are growing more in including sustainability features and link to this finance. For example, we work with and we promote also blended finance to increase this cooperation with governments and support the incorporation of new technologies and new businesses models as well. We also support the growth of the industrial sector through supporting companies, developers, and asset managers to include more sustainability criteria and circular criteria within their buildings and their assets, and also to promote all this decarbonization. And the sustainability features that we work with for the financing mechanisms are linked, for example, to sustainability-linked bonds or sustainability-linked loans, that basically what they do is that they include in the loans or in the bonds. They include KPIs that have to be achieved by these companies in the medium and long term. For example, on the decarbonization or circular economy, so they have to achieve this kind of targets, and sometimes and often this bonds or loans can also provide incentive or performance incentive based when the companies are achieving these targets. So this is like an overview of what we do and how we promote.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Following the policy, finance are very important to walk our talk and to make it to action. Time is flying with you, ladies. I really enjoyed to share with you my questions. Unfortunately, I could not go to the second round because I would like to give the chance to the attendants and participants. If you have questions online, I cannot see it. If someone can help me to read it, please. Can you?
I cannot see.
Sorry.
Ismail, I think we are showing our age because I'm not able to read it. And I even have my glasses on.
To Ms. Wendell, what was the process behind getting sensitive data of companies and find partners to cooperate? What is the process to scale from an idea to implementation in such a process?
Yeah, the process of getting sensitive data from companies is to build the trust that I mentioned. They have to see what they gain by sharing it. And it's a constant discussion on how much data do you need. Because if you start by the low-hanging fruit, then you do not have to investigate that much into the data. But as you advance your partnership, more data is needed. And right now we are about to identify all the data and components on our ecosystem that you saw in the video. We have made a data management system on that. And this is because the partners already then can see what they gain by delivering this information to us as facilitators. To some extent, they will share it with their neighbors, but when relevant, and they are open to that, and then otherwise we will be the facilitators interacting with them on it.
Thank you very much, Miti. I don't know if we have a second question in the system. Yes, and again, I ask my colleague Christian, Susan, if you can help.
But I need to have it on the screen.
Now we can. Now
This
we
is
can
another
read it.
example of cooperation, you see? Christian just like
Absolutely.
got into the field.
And again, for Ms. Mette, using Kallenborg experience, can you share the economic, ecological, and social benefits that this symbiosis has yielded? What are the top elements for replicable success?
Thank you. And for the firstly, I would like to say that you saw in the video the numbers on the environmental savings. We did that calculation back in 2019, and now we are about to recalculate it here 5 years later, because as I touched upon in my presentation of Kalundborg Symbiosis, the Symbiosis has developed very much during the last 5 years. We have become more companies, there are more streams, we are more advanced. So this will be a completely new number on the savings. For instance, we have carbon capture today in Kalundborg. We have biogas production, which we didn't have when we said that we calculated that we save 586,000 tons of carbon dioxide annually. And we also back then did calculation on the financial output, but this was a little bit conservative, and it was that we saved 13.9 million Danish kroners. It's €1 is 7.4 Danish kroners, and one reais is 1.2 Danish kroners, just for comparison. But this number will be much higher when we calculate it today. But again, the companies will not put numbers on the savings on each stream, but we will communicate that there's in total there's a sum of financial savings, and it has a big impact. And this just to make people where around the world more eager to replicate this case.
Thank you very much. Before moving to the third question, I would like also to ask Melissa from Brazil about the incentives you think that would be beneficial for the companies for the industrial symbiosis.
For sure. I don't know if it's possible to put the slide that I sent here, because I think it can show better what benefits that we have. That is really remarkable, the benefits that we achieve. Please, next one,
It's coming.
if it's possible. Well, while they are putting the slide, I'd like to say the first benefit that it's related with the one question format. It's related to trust. I know Brasilia, it's very difficult to trust. Brasilia is not easy to trust and to show, to be available some data. So that's why it's very important to have a facilitation entity that help the companies to build the trust. For example, in Santa Cruz, we have the AEDIN. AEDIN, it's an organization, it's an association that has more than 50 years. So that way that the association has connection with all the companies of the districts. And by this, the trust was built. So I think the first benefit that we have related to build a program for symbiosis is to help this trust. And here in this slide, you can see a lot of benefits that we are working, and all the flows that we have designed during these 3 years of the program. So one thing that I think important to highlight, that we have the benefits of the trust, we have the benefit of sharing some services. It's important to highlight, for example, transport, employees transport. As Santa Cruz is in suburb of Rio de Janeiro, so if you can share the transport, you save a lot of emission of CO2. Another benefit that we have is to reduce the environment impact when you can use some waste byproduct as a raw material. And you have some examples of this already in district. You are working to develop, to use the waste from the desulfuration gas for a steel company as a gypsum for a plasterboard company. So it is a waste used as a raw material. Another benefit that we have, it is related to the community. Social dimension is also important to work. So we live in a very poor area in Rio de Janeiro, so we were trying to work, first of all, with small companies, and also if the cooperatives, in a way that we can create some jobs there, And also we are working to try to build a training initiatives that all the companies can train the people in the region, for this region, to be part of to get job in the industry. So we have the social part of this. And we have an example of this. The first project that we are working on, and we intend to finish in this year, in the end of this year, is related to organic waste. The organic waste that's produced for every company in the cafeteria is sent to compost. It will be sent to compost to produce organic fertilizer. This organic fertilizer goes for the small producers, the small farms, so that you going to produce the vegetable, fruits, and some things like that, and return this for the company to be used again for the cafeteria, and also to be sold to the employees of the companies in a free market inside of each site of the company. So it's a good example that you have already implemented in Santa Cruz. And for long term, we have possibilities to develop, and we are also working a new project together with Itaguaí Port to have a space to build a hydrogen hub. So the idea is to produce hydrogen, and this hydrogen, it's a low carbon hydrogen that can also use some CO2 because we have a high intensive emissions there, for example, steel companies, and you can use the CO2s that we can capture and produce some products, some biofuels, some methanol, some urea, ammonia. So that's the way you can to build a new business, new markets. You can open new markets there. So it's just examples. I talk too much here,
it's okay,
I know.
But thank you very much, Melissa, because this symbiosis is not simple. And what you have seen here is only the technology aspect of it. And behind it, we have people and also how we build partnerships to communicate, etc. But thank you for giving these more details. There was another question before for Solana. There is another question on artificial intelligence. Angelica, would you mind to answer how artificial intelligence can help to foster the implementation of circular economy? If you can take some examples in your country, in Colombia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'll come.
The free trade zones in Colombia have been using artificial intelligence mainly in those companies devoted to logistics, because that's a very, very important part of the business itself. So they're using AI and also robotics to do all these picking and packing processes, to read correctly the trends of the companies, what the customers abroad and also within the country are demanding. So this has done the operation very, very quickly. You know, it has brought like speed, it's more dynamic itself, and then they need also the cooperation and of course the circular economy to be in the same pace that this artificial intelligence is setting in the business itself. So yes, we are using it, and it has proved to be very, very efficient.
Thank you very much, Angelica. And coming back to the last question that was for you, Sylvia, how you see how we can replicate, if we can replicate the examples that you have supported or IFC is supporting in other countries.
Yeah, and I think also it also included about existing industrial sector.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think this is a great question because we definitely can replicate. One of the challenges that the industrial zones have, it's implementing this strategy, circularity and green buildings and eco-efficient strategies, not only for the new or green fields, but also for the retrofit and existing ones. And definitely we need to create tools, but it's the retrofit, to retrofit an industrial park, it will be more challenging, definitely, with all the processes and all the technical challenges. While the new ones are much easier and can be done since the beginning as green and eco-efficient. But for this, we have created tools from IFC, and for example, we have a software that we have developed that is also a tool and a certification system that it also allows to unlock green finance. Because it's a standard that IFC has developed for international and for international green finance institutions. So this is basically, it's called EDGE, and it's a software and a certification system that allows and that promotes the green buildings and also existing and new ones can achieve at least 20% more efficient consumption in resources, in water, energy, and materials, embodied carbon of materials. And this is also for, as I said, for existing and new. And it has been replicating all over the world. Specifically was done for emerging markets. And now it has been also taken by developed countries. But definitely this is something that can be replicated. It's a simple way to make the assets more efficient. And we have been also working together with the World Bank to enhance this kind of tools, and to also facilitate not only like the design that project the efficiency, but also to calculate and work during the operations of the buildings and provide actual data to the owners and to the asset owners, so they can improve also during the life of the building. So this is kind of an example, and I will stop there because I know that you're a little
Thank
bit
you very
pressed
much,
with the time.
Silvia. But this is really important to have protocols and standards so we can replicate and reach the same, at least try to reach the same targets. I know that time is flying with you ladies. It's very important. I think we can have now the last poll where your participation, and the question this time is the following for you. What are the best strategies for promoting a circular economy through industrial synergies and symbiosis? And you have options like last time, and I hope it will show now in the screen. So the first option, and it will come, networking, material exchanges and alike, or incentives for developing synergies, disincentives, increased cost for input resources and materials treatment, or the last option, training, support for feasibility and trust building between businesses. This is really interesting how it shapes. I think we see now training, support, and building partnerships coming very strong and even stronger. And this is really complements the first option when we started the poll. And unfortunately, time is up. Yeah. And my final word is we need international cooperation, but also we need local cooperation. And we need to show it how we can foster it at the local level. And we need both cooperations, and no country can lead alone because we have only one planet, and we really hope that we are one people that are living in this planet, and we need to come together to overcome these challenges. I am very pleased to moderate this session, and I think as time is up, I would like to thank you. We could not take all your questions, but you can contact all the panelists after the session, or through the social media if you would like to get more details about their presentations. If you can join me to give an applause to the panelists. And then if you can stand up, please. You can stand up. I really deserve it. Thank you very much again, and we hope to see you soon, and keep in touch. Thank you. Obrigado.